story time. In the cruel world of fate, missing a flight might just mean dodging a fatal bullet. On a day that started like any other, Flight 182 was gearing up for what seemed like another routine journey. The passengers, a motley crew of individuals, all carried their own stories, their own destinations. Little did they know, their paths were about to converge in an unforeseen tragedy. The aircraft, like a giant bird, spread its wings, ready to take to the skies. The engines roared to life, the wheels began their roll, and soon the ground was a distant memory. But what was meant to be a journey through the clouds turned into a nightmare. Without warning, Flight 182 descended into chaos, meeting its end in a fiery crash that left no survivors. A day that began with the promise of journeys ended in unspeakable tragedy. Yet, amongst the list of the unfortunate, there was one name marked absent. The passenger, a man of routine, missed his flight for the first time. This was a man who thrived on consistency, a man for whom punctuality was second nature. He was as reliable as the sunrise, as steadfast as the ticking of a clock. His life was orchestrated down to the minute, a symphony of precision and order. But on this fateful day, his symphony faltered, his routine was disrupted. His alarm clock, a trusty companion, fell silent in the early hours of the morning. His morning coffee, usually so invigorating, tasted bitter and flat. The city traffic, often predictable, was a snarl of honking horns and flashing lights. The universe seemed to conspire against him, throwing wrench after wrench into his well-oiled routine. He arrived at the airport with mere minutes to spare. His heart pounded in sync with the ticking of the departure board, each second slipping away like sand through his fingers. He sprinted towards the gate, his suitcase clattering behind him, but as he reached the gate, the doors were closing, the plane was preparing to push back out of the gate. He watched as the aircraft, carrying his fate with it, taxied away. He was left standing in the terminal, the taste of disappointment bitter on his tongue. He had come so close, so tantalizingly close to boarding that doomed flight. But the universe, in its infinite wisdom, had other plans for him. His life, once so predictable, was now marked by a singular event. An event that set him apart from the rest of the world, that made him a beacon of hope in the midst of tragedy. He was the man who had missed the flight, the man who had cheated death. And so, by an uncanny twist of fate, he remained on the ground, while others soared to their end. His life, once dictated by the rhythm of routine, was now defined by the rhythm of survival. He was the lucky passenger, the one who got away, the one whose missed flight became a symbol of life in the face of death. But as the dust of the crash settled, a shocking revelation emerged. The man, once considered the luckiest passenger alive for missing that ill-fated flight, was not so lucky after all. A dark secret, a twisted plot, unraveled from the wreckage, casting an ominous shadow over his fortuitous escape. Investigators, sifting through the remnants of the disaster, stumbled upon what seemed like a jigsaw puzzle. Piece by piece, they began to fit together a chilling narrative. A narrative that pointed not to a mechanical failure, not to human error, but to something far more sinister. They discovered a set of coded messages hidden in the flight's black box. These messages, when decoded, revealed a meticulously planned scheme to bring down the plane. But the most shocking revelation was yet to come. The coded messages traced back to none other than the man who had missed the flight. The man who had been seen as the lucky survivor was now the prime suspect in a horrific act of sabotage. The evidence was overwhelming. His digital footprints were everywhere. Emails, encrypted conversations, suspicious transactions, all leading back to him. Even his last-minute decision to miss the flight, once seen as a stroke of good fortune, was now viewed in a new light. It was not luck. It was a cold, calculated move, designed to ensure he could watch the tragedy unfold from a safe distance. When the authorities finally closed in on him, the man offered no resistance. He was arrested quietly, a smug smile playing on his lips, as if he was proud of the chaos he had unleashed. His silent surrender seemed to echo the chilling truth that had been unveiled. That he was not an innocent bystander but the puppet master pulling the strings of fate. In the end, the man who escaped death was not the lucky passenger but the unseen villain, orchestrating a tragedy from the shadows.